Hello, and welcome to the Creating Totango Collections for Salesforce portion of this series. This video is devoted to getting data out of Salesforce for the purpose of creating collections in Totango. When using CRM, Data Warehouse, or CSV, you do not need to define the collection in Totango before loading data in. It will prompt you on the fly to create the collection. Now, I want to mention here that for this exercise, I have chosen to model opportunities as collections. Now, opportunities is an interesting one because you could model opportunities as collections, or you could model opportunities as accounts in Totango. It really depends on your use case. And we do have customers that do both, where when the opportunity is in a closed won stage, it is modeled as an account. When it goes into a closed loss stage, it gets canceled and a record is created as a collection for the closed lost opportunity. And it's entirely up to you how you want to model these. I'm using opportunities as an example here for a collection, but again, if you want to choose to model opportunities as accounts or as both, that's completely up to you and depends on your Totango use case. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's jump into the data and let's take a look at what we have in Salesforce that we're going to be bringing in. Here I have listed all of my opportunities, and one thing to note here is that I want to use the same filters that I used in Totango when I brought in my accounts to only bring in the opportunities that belong to those accounts. And so what I'm going to actually do is in Totango, I'm going to go into the global settings and review what was the filter that we used for the purpose of bringing in accounts so that we can replicate that on the opportunity. And so let's take a look here at my recurring jobs at the account job. And here is the filter that we used at the account. And we're going to go ahead and copy that. And we are going to slightly modify that so that it works on the opportunity level and reuse that for the opportunities collection. So let's go ahead and go back and create a new collection item. And we'll choose collections here after clicking that plus. And as I said earlier, you don't have to create the collection before you do this setup with either the CRM or the CSV loads or data warehouse loads. You can do this on the fly. So I'm going to create a new collection of type that is an opportunities collection. We're going to be connecting to our Salesforce Totango demo instance of Salesforce, and the object that we will be pulling is the opportunities object right here. And I'm going to skip query fields. We'll do those in a moment. We'll right away focus on the query filter. We'll drop this in, and by referencing, because opportunities have a direct relationship with account, we can do account dot on all of these fields and say account dot market segment, account dot churn date, and account, excuse me, and right here. So this now makes it so that the opportunities that we will pull will have the exact same filter criteria as the accounts, looking at the account level market segment, the account level churn date, and the account level Totango account status. Now let's talk about the fields that we need to pull. So with a collection, and by the way, I wanted to really quick before I move on, for the query filter, this is SOQL syntax. Everything after the where clause is appropriate to put in here. Now, to establish a collection, you need two items. You need the account ID that the collection belongs to, as well as the ID for the collection. Now, for the ID for the collection, that'll be easy here. We're just going to use opportunity.id. Now, a little bit more difficult is which account ID it belongs to, because if you remember, for the accounts, when we did our configuration, we didn't map to the Salesforce identifier. We instead mapped to the customer key And if I remember my syntax correctly, it's account dot customer underscore key double underscore C. And let's give that a shot. And there we go. We can scroll down to the content filtering, and here is a preview of the data that we've mapped so far. So we have the customer key that will be used as the account ID of where the opportunity belongs. We have the opportunity ID that will be used as the unique identifier for the collection item. Now let's bring in the other fields that we want to display on the opportunity, and I have those exposed in my opportunities view. So first we want the opportunity name, the close date, the stage, and the owner full name, and that's all we'll need for the opportunity. So let's go ahead and bring those value in. So opportunity name, close date, stage, and owner. But if we just do owner, it'll bring over the Salesforce identifier. So we have to do by reference, and owner.name is what we'll choose here. So, and just a quick note here, the reason that it's in green is because you're doing a custom mapping. And when you do a custom mapping like this, it always puts it in green. It's not going to, by reference field, it's not going to put it into this gray format, which means that it's right directly on that object. It just means that this is a custom map. And if we load the preview, as long as it gives us no error messages and loads the preview just fine, as you can see, we have all the data that we need now to bring in the data to Totango. Now, let's go ahead and do our mappings. So for the source field, this is for the account ID. We're going to, as I said, use account.customerKey. For the opportunity ID, we're going to use the ID of the opportunity itself, the 18-character identifier with Salesforce. And then we're going to go into the mappings down here and remove those two fields because we've already mapped them. So ID can be trashed and customer key can be trashed. Now, for the rest of the items, because collections, the way they work, there are no named attributes. The only attributes required for a collection are the ID of the account that it belongs to and the unique identifier of the collection item. The rest of the items are custom attribute. So close date, we will choose close date and date there. For the name, we'll leave it just as name. Owner.name and stage name. We're going to leave all of these the same, and I'm going to show you in a little bit also how to now make it so that the collection appears, we'll say, pretty in the account profile view. So let's go ahead and validate that mapping. As you can see, validation is successful. So now that we validated the mappings, we can go down here to the scheduling. We'll set this job up for hourly scheduling and save and sync for 1 hour. Every hour it'll run through. Now let's very quickly focus on how this collection will be displayed on the account object. So we're going to go into the data modeler and we're going to look for the opportunity collection, and we're going to click in there. And now what you can do is you can hide and organize fields as you want to. So the opportunity ID, we don't need it in here. You know, there's no reason to have that identifier in there. So I'm going to go ahead and disable that, and that'll be not visible when you're looking at the opportunity. The close date, I want the display name to be a little bit more human friendly, so I'm going to go ahead and put a space in there. The name, and I actually want the name to be the first item in the list. And instead of owner.name, I'm just going to put owner, and then stage name, we're going to add a space in there and save. So now when that opportunity is presented to our users, it'll actually be in a nice format. So let's take a look at a opportunity item so we can see what the collection looks like. And there's one more step that you need to take in order to reveal a collection within the Totango UI. So I'm going to drill into the collections. I'm going to edit this integration. And the reason I'm doing this is I just want to grab any account ID that has a opportunity. Alternatively, we can also create a segment that looks at opportunities and just tells me which accounts have opportunities. So I can go ahead and click on this item, and I can see the opportunities do exist for this. We just need to unearth them in the UI. So we'll go ahead and click the kebab stack on the right-hand side. We'll click on settings. We'll scroll down in this medium widgets, and we'll find opportunities. And if we wanted to, we can make that go up to the top as well. So we'll put it right here at the very top and hit save. And now, as you can see, the opportunities are all listed in here with our newly modified display names for the various fields that are within here. So that is how you unearth collections as opportunities, and that is how you bring in collections into Totango.